She grabbed my mic stand, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Just give us the vacation. My kids deserve a trip more than some rich bidder does." That was in front of 400 people at a black-tie children's hospital gala, and that was just her opening move. Let me set the scene. Third Saturday in November, 7:45 in the evening. The Harborview Grand Ballroom on the top floor of the Meridian Hotel, downtown. White tablecloths, real orchid centerpieces, a string quartet in the corner. Every dinner ticket was $1,200. Every dollar went straight to the Pediatric Oncology Wing Expansion Fund at Harborview Children's Hospital. This was not a casual night out. My name is Marcus. I'm 38. I've been running charity auctions full-time for 9 years, benefit galas, school fundraisers, nonprofit events. I have a company, 4 employees, and we work with over 40 nonprofits a year. I know how to read a room. I know how to build energy, how to coax a reluctant bidder into going one more round. It's a skill most people don't think about until they're in a room where nobody's raising their paddles and the charity director is sweating through her blazer. That night I had already moved 11 lots. We were 3/4 through the program. People had been drinking wine for 2 hours. The mood was exactly where you want it, generous, competitive, a little loose. The running total on the board behind me showed $214,000 raised. The goal was $300,000. We were right on track. Lot 12 was the headliner. 7 nights at a resort in the Caribbean. Round-trip flights for 4, private villa with a pool, a spa credit, the whole package. Retail value $4,200. Donated by a travel company we worked with regularly. At a gala like this one, these packages usually go above retail because people feel good bidding high when it's for sick kids. I was expecting it to land somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. I just introduced it. The brochure photos were up on the screen behind me, blue water, white sand, a sunset that looked almost too perfect. I set the opening bid at $1,000 and scanned the room for the first paddle. That's when I spotted her. She was moving fast through the tables. Not the polite excuse me shuffle you see when someone needs the restroom. She had purpose. 2 kids with her, a boy who looked about 7 and a girl maybe 5, and she was practically pulling them by the wrists. Blue dress, slightly too formal in a trying too hard way, and the expression of someone who had already decided how this was going to end. Her name, I found out later, was Diane. She stopped at the edge of the stage. I'm on a low platform, so we were almost eye level. I still had the mic in my hand. She spoke loud enough that the 4 or 5 nearest tables definitely caught every word. "Excuse me, we want that vacation. Can you just give it to us? We can't really bid, but my kids really need a trip and this looks perfect." I paused 2 seconds, kept my voice even. "Hi there, I appreciate your interest. Everything tonight is auctioned to raise money for the hospital. The highest bid wins. Would you like to register?" She shook her head. "No, I mean just give it to us. We're not rich like everyone else here. It's for the kids." She pushed the 2 children forward slightly, like she was presenting evidence in court. I smiled. "I understand, but I can't give items away outside the auction process. Every dollar goes to the hospital. That's how it works." She stared at me, then she said, "That seems really unfair." Okay, I thought, she'll go back to her table. People sometimes misunderstand how charity auctions work. They think you can negotiate. They get a little embarrassed and they retreat. Diane did not retreat. She stepped up onto the platform edge, 1 foot up, like she was about to climb onto the stage, and said, louder this time, "I think you should let the audience decide. Audience, should these kids get the vacation?" A few people looked up from their phones. A couple at the nearest table exchanged a glance. An older woman near the back craned her neck to see what was happening. I kept the mic angled away from Diane. "Ma'am, I need you to step back from the stage. We're in the middle of the program." "So you're saying sick kids don't matter," she said, loud enough that the string quartet actually stumbled for a beat. Now the whole room was paying attention. That shift when 200 conversations stop and 400 eyes swing to one spot, I felt it happen. Here's the thing about running an auction. You do not panic. You cannot afford to. If you panic, the energy you spent 90 minutes building collapses in 30 seconds. So I took 1 breath, smiled at the room, and said into the mic, "We've got some real passion in this room tonight. Can I get a hand for everyone here who showed up for these kids? 400 people on a Saturday night, that's something." Polite applause, a few laughs. The tension broke for about 15 seconds. Diane used those 15 seconds to push her kids forward and say loudly, "Tell the man what you told Mommy. Tell him you want to go on vacation." The 7-year-old stared at the floor. The 5-year-old waved at me. I heard a woman at a nearby table say, under her breath but clearly, "Oh my God." I felt something for that boy. He had his chin tucked, eyes fixed on his shoes. He knew. Kids that age always know when a parent is doing something embarrassing. He looked like he wanted to sink through the ballroom floor. Whatever Diane thought she was accomplishing, she had just turned her son into a prop in front of 400 strangers. I noted it and moved on. I stepped to the center of the stage and addressed the room directly. Lot 12, folks. 7 nights in the Caribbean, flights for 4, private villa with a pool, opening at $1,000. Who kicks us off? A man in a gray suit near the middle of the room raised his paddle. Bidder 47. I pointed at him. 1,000 to bidder 47. Who will say 1,200? That's when Diane stepped fully onto the stage. That was the line. Everything before that was awkward. That crossed into a different situation entirely. She grabbed the mic stand, not the microphone, the stand, and pulled it toward her. She leaned in close enough that it picked her up and said, "Everyone, this man is refusing to help 2 children who just want a family vacation. Is that what this charity is about?" The room went completely silent. I glanced left toward the staff entrance. Cassandra, the event director, 52 years old, 25 years in event management, not a woman who gets flustered, had already put down her clipboard and was moving. I did not reach for the mic stand. I did not raise my voice. I stepped 1 step to the side, brought my handheld mic up and said, calm and clear, "Security and event staff, I need assistance at the stage, please." 2 hotel security guys were already on their way. One of them was Derek, tall, late 20s, professional, someone I recognized from previous years at this event. He reached the stage edge in about 12 seconds. Diane turned to him. "I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm a guest here." Derek said, "Ma'am, can I see your event credentials?" She held up a wristband. Here's the thing about this particular event, it had tiered ticketing. $1,200 full dinner tickets, which included auction floor access and a bidder number. And $200 cocktail reception tickets for the second half of the evening only. Reception guests could watch the auction from the back of the room. They were not assigned bidder numbers. They could not participate in the live lots. Diane had a reception wristband. Cassandra arrived at the stage, looked at the wristband, and said, quietly but clearly, "Reception guests are welcome in the back of the room but aren't permitted in the auction floor area or on the stage. Can I show you back to the reception section?" Diane said, "Are you serious right now? I came here for my kids." I said nothing. I was watching the room. Bidder 47 still had his paddle in the air, patiently. A woman 2 tables over was recording on her phone. The older couple in the front row, donors I recognized, they came every year, were watching Diane with identical expressions of flat disapproval. Diane pointed at me. "I want his name. I'm going to report him for discriminating against my family. He's refusing to help children at a children's charity. Do you understand how that looks?" Cassandra didn't blink. "His name is Marcus. He's the auctioneer. His job is to run the auction. He could just give us the vacation. It's a donation anyway. The items are not his to give. Every dollar goes to the hospital." "Then let me talk to whoever runs the hospital. I'll connect you with someone after the program. Right now I need you off the stage." Diane turned back to me, and this is where she made the move that changed everything. She reached out and grabbed my left wrist. Not hard, not violent, but she grabbed it and said, "I need you to listen to me." I pulled my arm back immediately. I said, "Do not touch me." Derek was on the stage in 2 steps. His partner had arrived by then. Derek said, "Ma'am, you need to come with us now. This is not a request." Diane said, "I'm going to sue this hotel. I'm going to sue this charity. I'm going to post about this everywhere." Derek said, "That's your right. Right now you're leaving the stage." She pulled her kids toward her and said, loud enough for the whole room, "Remember this. Remember that they threw a mother and her children out of a children's charity event." Here's what happened in the room when she said that. Nothing. No murmurs of sympathy. No gasps. A few people shook their heads. The woman with the phone lowered it. The older couple in the front row had moved from disapproval to something closer to contempt. Bidder 47 still had his paddle up, and he raised it a little higher like he was trying to get my attention back. That told me everything I needed to know about how 400 people read that situation. Derek and his partner walked Diane and her kids to the side exit. She was talking the whole way out. I couldn't make out the words from the stage, just the tone, insistent, escalating, running out of road. I turned back to the room, tapped the mic once. Okay, where were we? Bidder 47 has 1,000. Who's going to 1,200? Come on, this villa has a pool that's basically the size of this room. Real laughter, not polite, actual laughter. The tension was gone. A paddle went up at the back, bidder 91. Then bidder 23. Then a woman in a red dress who hadn't bid all night came in at 2,000. The lot sold for $6,800, best result of the night. But we're not done with Diane. About 20 minutes after she was escorted out, Cassandra came to the side of the stage during a break between lots and handed me a printout. A complaint Diane had filed at the hotel front desk while security was still walking her through the lobby. She had written, in her own handwriting, on an official hotel complaint form that I had assaulted her, grabbed her children, and used discriminatory language. She wrote that she was seeking legal counsel. I read it, handed it back to Cassandra. I said, she's going to need better legal counsel than that complaint is going to get her. Cassandra looked at me. She doesn't know, does she? I said, probably not. Here is what Diane did not know about me. Before I ran charity auctions full-time, I spent 11 years as a litigation attorney. Civil and event liability law. I left the firm in 2019 because I genuinely liked auction work more and I was good at it. But I kept my bar license active. I still consult occasionally. And I know in specific technical detail exactly what assault means under the law, what it requires to prove, and what the consequences are for filing a false written claim. When she grabbed my wrist, that was battery, under the law. When she filed a written complaint stating I had grabbed her children, something that did not happen, that was a false statement on an official hotel record. I had Cassandra pull the security footage before I left the building that night. The Meridian has cameras covering every angle of that ballroom. We watched the stage footage together at 11:30 that night after the gala wrapped. Everything was clear. Diane approaching the stage, stepping onto it, grabbing the mic stand, grabbing my wrist, being walked out by security. And very clearly, me never touching her children, never raising my voice, never using anything other than polite procedural language toward her the entire time. Cassandra put a copy of the footage on a USB drive and handed it to me that night. The gala closed at $318,000, $18,000 over goal. There was real warmth in the room at the end, people lingering, ordering late drinks, congratulating each other on bids. A few of the full dinner guests stopped me on the way out. One woman, mid-60s, Pearls, the kind of donor who writes checks with a lot of zeros, pressed my hand and said simply, "Thank you for not making it worse." I meant it when I thanked her back. 3 days later, Tuesday, I got a call from a blocked number. A man who said his name was Greg, Diane's husband. He said his wife had told him what happened and that the family was considering their options. They were thinking about filing a complaint with the charity and possibly reaching out to local media about how a family with children was treated at a charitable event. I let him finish. Then I said, "Greg, my name is Marcus Hale. Before I ran auctions, I practiced civil litigation for 11 years. I have reviewed the security footage from that evening. Your wife stepped onto the stage without authorization, grabbed a piece of event equipment, grabbed my wrist, and was removed by hotel security. She also filed a written complaint with the hotel stating that I grabbed your children. The security footage shows that did not happen. I have a copy of that footage and a copy of the written complaint. If you contact the media or the charity with false statements about what happened, I will have a response ready that includes both. I'd suggest you talk to an actual attorney before you proceed." Silence for about 5 seconds. Greg said, "I didn't know she filed a complaint." I said, "Now you do." He hung up. 8 days of quiet. Then a 1-star review appeared on the Meridian Hotel's page, filed under the name Diane M. It said a hotel employee had discriminated against her family, that a staff member had been physically aggressive toward her, that the event was badly organized and unwelcoming. It said her children were traumatized by the experience. Cassandra forwarded it to me and asked me to draft a response, since I had run the gala in a professional capacity on behalf of the hotel. Here's what I wrote, more or less. "Thank you for your feedback. Our event team and security staff have reviewed the footage of the incident you reference. For the record, the individual in question entered the auction stage without authorization during an active lot, handled event equipment belonging to the auction, made physical contact with the event auctioneer, and was calmly and professionally escorted from the stage by hotel security. No event staff or auction personnel made physical contact with any children at any point during the evening. A written complaint filed at the front desk during the incident contains statements not consistent with what is shown in the security footage. That footage is preserved. We wish you well. Cassandra posted it word for word. Within 2 days, 3 people who had been at the gala left counter-responses. Not at my prompting, not at Cassandra's. Just people who had been in the room and felt like setting the record straight. One said they were sitting at table 6 and watched the whole thing and the review was not accurate. Another said the auctioneer was one of the most professional people they'd ever seen handle a difficult situation. The third said they had never left a count review before but felt they needed to this time. The 1-star review is still up. So is the response, so are all 3 counter comments. Now here's the part that actually made me laugh. About 2 weeks after the gala, the travel company that donated the vacation package sent me a personal note. Not to the charity, not to the hotel, to me specifically. Their events coordinator had been at one of the tables that night. She saw everything. She wrote that the way I handled the situation and then turned the room around and sold that lot for $6,800, nearly double retail, was one of the best things she had ever witnessed at an event. She said her company was expanding their charity partnership program, and they wanted me specifically for 3 new galas the following year. I signed those contracts in December. 3 events, plus a referral to a hospital foundation in a neighboring city that added 2 more dates. 5 new events, all coming directly from the night Diane tried to take that vacation for free. The lot she wanted to just have. It ended up generating more auction revenue than any other item that night, and it directly expanded my business for the following year. As for the vacation itself, Bidder 47's name is Robert. He's a retired orthopedic surgeon. He won the package at $6,800. I ran into him at the groundbreaking ceremony for the oncology wing the following spring. He told me he gave the villa week to his daughter's family for their anniversary trip. He said they loved it. Cassandra was at the groundbreaking too. A few weeks before that, she had sent me a gift card for a steak dinner. The card said, "For keeping your cool when I definitely would not have." I took her and her husband to dinner instead and put the card toward the bill. Seemed like the right move. I think about Diane sometimes, not with bitterness, more just trying to understand it. She paid $200 for a cocktail reception ticket. She brought 2 young kids to a formal gala. She saw a vacation package on a screen and decided the rules didn't apply to her because she had children in tow. She genuinely seemed to believe that being a mother entitled her to something other people were there to bid on competitively. Money that was going to kids actually fighting cancer in an actual hospital. Maybe she was genuinely struggling financially. I don't know her situation. But the gala was not a giveaway program. The vacation package existed to generate money for the hospital. Taking it for free would have meant taking that money away from sick kids, which is the exact opposite of what she claimed to care about. What I haven't been able to let go of is the written complaint, the one she filed while security was still walking her through the lobby, saying I grabbed her children. She wrote that down deliberately. She handed it to the front desk while the situation was still happening. She knew it wasn't true. She was trying to build leverage. That's the part that made me genuinely glad I kept my bar license current. I never filed anything against her. I had enough to work with: the footage, the false written complaint, the battery when she grabbed my wrist. I could have made her life significantly more complicated. But what was the point? Greg clearly had no idea she had filed that complaint. The media threat went nowhere. The hotel review got buried under factual responses from actual witnesses. She didn't get the vacation. She didn't get any money from the hotel or the charity. She got walked out of a ballroom in front of 400 people while her kids watched. That was enough. In 9 years of running auctions, that was the only time someone physically grabbed me on stage. I've had bidders get aggressive with each other over lots. I've had drunk donors try to reopen closed bids. I've had a best man try to turn a charity auction into an impromptu comedy set. I've handled all of it. But someone stepping onto the stage, grabbing the equipment, and then grabbing my arm, that was a first, and hopefully a last. The Harborview Gala is coming up again next month. I'll be running it again. Cassandra is expecting the room to push 350,000 this year. The oncology wing expansion created a lot of goodwill and brought in a lot of new donors who want to be part of the next phase. I've already looked over the lot lineup. There's a vacation package again. Different resorts, same idea. I'm expecting it to do well. I'm also expecting to run the entire auction without anyone grabbing my arm. Low bar, but after last year, I'll take it. If you were sitting in that room that night, what would you have done? Would you have handled it the same way, or would you have done something differently? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious.